So, what are small business loans and finance, and what are the signs that a business may need some help in this area? Small business loans, pretty self explanatory. I think it's really a means for a business or a company to borrow monies so that they can fund something moving forward or pay existing bills that they probably can't achieve in that moment. Finance is really more the wider family, so we can look at facilities more. So we don't just have loans, we can have some sort of fairly complicated financial instruments, for example, like invoice factoring, which is where when you raise an invoice, instead of having to wait 30 days or 60 days to get paid, you can use a finance facility to raise you the funds on day one. So it goes without saying that signs that somebody might need help in this department is really around cash flow in that department, around some of the sort of finance arrangements like overdrafts and factoring deals that we've just discussed. So companies may find that they're struggling to pay bills. If that's the case, they're finding that they're having to rob Peter to pay Paul, really, and they're just struggling balancing them making payments and the receipts from their customers and clients. They may have a growth strategy in place and they need to buy a new company vehicle or a piece of machinery and they just can't afford it. So it makes sense that they would finance that, or they would take a loan out to buy that, and the additional revenue that would come in from that would more than pay the facility back, and it would benefit the company. So there's a couple of things really. It can be cash flow related, or it could be a positive thing that we're looking to finance or fund the growth strategy. Some of the common mistakes and misconceptions that we see with business funding, business loans or finance agreements, one of the mistakes, sorry, is that people rush out. We saw it the other week. We were working on something with a client, and it's understandable. They want their money here quickly, and by doing that, rushing out, they might not be getting the best possible deal, or it could be that in securing a loan more quickly, it might be that they've got different levels of security on it. So you might, for example, be getting something which has got a large personal guarantee on it, or there's a charge against a property. And if you were able to sort of explore the market in more detail, you might not have had to have gone to that level of security that was on offer. Some of the misconceptions as well is that you can just borrow money. It's just cold hard cash that you borrow. And that's because in our personal lives, what we get offered to us from banks or other companies is pretty much just a cash loan to some extent. But there are lots of other facilities out there. We've touched on one, invoice factoring, which really allows you to access money on invoices that you've raised that you're not going to get paid for until, say, day 60, but you can release the funds on day one. And that's really useful because what you're doing there is you're tapping into your asset. The wider family of that is known as asset-based lending as well. So you may have a business that you've pumped loads of money into in from the outset, and you've got lots of expensive machinery and vehicles and lots of assets on hand. So your balance sheet looks really healthy, but you're not very cash rich at that time. Well, you can actually then borrow money against those assets. So the misconceptions are that really it's a very static, got to go and borrow money, but there are other facilities out there that we can tap into. The process of really making sure that these problems are ironed out with securing funding or finance for a company is that you really use a good broker. That would be my advice. And also, don't use that scattergun approach. We speak to some clients and they've rung everybody and they've come to us. And I think this is a mistake that people can make, because what you don't probably realize with the brokering world is that it's very far reaching. So you speak to one broker and all of a sudden the main companies will then probably have been applied for. You speak to two or three brokers and you've got a finance company that's getting hit with 5 or 6 applications for the same business, and that's not a good look. It reeks of sort of desperation. So the mistakes are, don't be desperate. Don't rush into this. Do your homework. Find a good broker and see the process out with them, and try and understand from day one what your expectations are on time frame. If they say to you, look, it's going to be 6 weeks for us to get this loan. No, I need it by the end of the week. Then clearly it's not right for you. But make sure you tell them what your expectations are, what it is that you need, and probably just stick to one reputable broker from the outset and just see the process through. So what's one thing that a business owner can do today in terms of loans or funding or finance that can benefit them, and where might they need some external help? Well, I think one of the things that they can look to do is probably review what they currently have. get themselves in a place where they would be a good applicant. They might not need funding or finance today, but they might need it tomorrow. So my advice would be to really do a bit of an overview of where you currently stand at the moment. Have a look at what funding your business may currently have. Make sure it's all up to date. Make sure it's in the best shape, that you're getting the best deals. But also just get yourself ready for an application almost, so that you are market ready, because opportunities come about. We're not just saying we're going to hit cash flow problems, or we're going to have this desperate requirement for money all of a sudden, but we might have an opportunity come about. Something might become available to buy. So if we know that we can go straight in there, we've got a broker lined up, we've got everyone that we know, we are ready to apply at any moment, then it buys us those opportunities. Where you might need some external help is packaging yourself in that way. You might think, well, I just need to get my bank statements on hand, I might need to. But a broker, they will know what common questions are asked. So they can sort of advise to you what information needs to be in hand, and have that packaged, have that ready. We do it privately. We run sort of credit reference checks on ourselves, or lots of people do. You can get apps on your phones and that sort of thing now. We are ready to go at any one time. We can go on and buy something if we want it relatively quickly. So do the same for your business. Make sure you're in good credit-worthy shape.